Hi everybody, it's Jessica, the Dollhouse curator, and today we are going to be digging into doll bread crafts. We are going to be covering a couple of doll bread crafts that you can use in your dollhouse that are easy and simple to make with items you may already have. Hi everybody, it's the Dollhouse curator, and today I'm going to show you how to make sliceable loaves of bread using just a few simple crafts with some hot glue, brown paper, styrofoam, and scissors. To start, I take a piece of styrofoam and I trim it into the shape of bread that I want, making sure to go all the way around so that gives me a really nice shape. Second, I'm going to take some brown paper that I got off of an Amazon box, and I'm going to test the template to ensure that it fits the way I want it to. And we're going to go ahead and trim off any extra paper and fix up any kind of unsightly edges. Next, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my template bread onto my paper, making sure to cover the edges and give a good spreading of hot glue all the way around so that my paper adheres to my template really well. We're going to do this all the way around, making sure to be very careful because hot glue does burn, and I did get burned a couple of times during this. But we're going to make sure to cover all the way around, and on the outside coverage edge, I only cover halfway so that I don't have an unsightly seam on the edges of my bread. So you're going to trim off the extra on the other end and then go around to make sure that all of your edges are neat and tidy how you want it to be. And then I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue to finish up any unsightly edges and to fill in any gaps in my front and back of my bread. I also cover a little bit onto the styrofoam so that it gives it a good feel. And then if you really want to take this to the next level, you can wrap it in some plastic so that it looks like an actual loaf of bread from the store. This is what I did before with my old loaf of bread that I used, but I love this craft even better because you only need paper, styrofoam, scissors, and hot glue, and plastic if you choose. And this bread is sliceable. Now, I'm being very careful because I'm using my new table and a very sharp knife, but I love the idea of having this bread that I can display in my dollhouse and be able to cut slices from to make it look like a full awesome scene. For our next doll craft, I'm going to show you how you can make a doll loaf of bread. For this craft, you will need 3 blocks, a paper towel, scissors, hot glue, and some brown construction paper. This project is super easy, and we're going to start off by gluing our 3 blocks together to create our template for our loaf of bread, and then we are going to cover these blocks with paper towel. I like to start by covering the bottom, wrapping my paper all the way around to meet the other side, and then going back around using my hot glue to not only adhere my paper towel, but also to help provide me a little more depth of shape to make my bread loaf look a little bit more realistic. After I get all of my paper towel wrapped around, I'm going to trim off all of the excess and then go over each of my sides except the bottom with some additional hot glue so I can get the shape that I want. Once I have that done, I'm going to take my smaller piece of paper towel, line it up with my back edge, let it overlap onto the front where we're going to cover that front block, which will become our showing bread piece, and then I'm going to secure all of my edges around. Next, we're going to take some construction paper. I got mine from an Amazon box because I like these lines on the top where it makes it look like bread. And I'm going to wrap that around my bread loaf, ensuring to cover my entire template as I'm wrapping. This will help secure my paper and also make my bread template a little bit more shapely. Once we have our entire template covered, then we're going to trim off the front edge and we're going to leave extra on the back so that we can wrap the back edge in the brown paper so that it looks like our bread loaf end. Once you have all of your area wrapped up, I'm going to go in with some hot glue and secure around any edges that have not adhered well and put a little bit on the front to make it look realistic. And then I'm going to take my plastic and wrap our bread loaf like our regular bread. We hope you enjoyed this craft. Let's see what's coming up next. For our final project, we are going to create an open slice bread loaf. For this project, you'll need the same items that we needed for our sliceable bread, and we will also be using a sharp box cutter. Once we have our styrofoam bread template all covered, we are going to go over the top on 3 sides with equal intervals of hot glue. I do this to make my bread loaf look a bit more realistic and also give my loaf a bit more structure. Once my hot glue is dry, I am going to start cutting little slices into the bread, ensuring that I am not cutting all the way through my styrofoam template so that I'm not actually creating slices, but I am making the top look like it is a sliced bread loaf. Please be careful when using your sharp objects and ensure, again, not to cut all the way through the bread. Once I have cut all of my slices, I am going to take my template and I'm going to spread my slices out a little bit and kind of crush them up just to give my bread loaf a little bit more texture and realism. And then I am going to take my plastic and start wrapping it around my bread loaf just like we did in our additional crafts. Except for this time, I'm only going to be closing it on one end. I'm going to take a few of the slices that I had left over, put them in the opening of our template, and we have created an adorable open bread loaf that looks like our dolls have made sandwiches. We hope you have enjoyed this craft on how to make bread for your dollhouse. I love this idea. It was one of the first crafts that I did for myself that I really enjoyed and got some great feedback on. And it has been great to kind of upgrade this craft for you and give you not one, not two, but 3 different ways to create doll bread crafts for your dollhouse. Bye, y'all.